Landstede Hammers TV wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Studio.
At first, welcome in Zwolle. It was a whole week in Zwolle. What's your impression about this week?
Well, I was in the city only one time, and I had a coffee and some frietjes, and what a beautiful city you have. My wife and I we go to Haarlem a lot, and really enjoy being in Holland. I've been here so many times. It's like a second home almost. So it's been great. When I was invited to come to Zwolle and help out with this camp, I didn't hesitate, and I'm happy I did it because I had a really good time.
Yeah. What about that camp? What's your opinion about that?
Well, the camp is a product of a partnership between Betis Sevilla and the Hammers, and the GM of Betis called me. He's a friend of mine, and he said, "Would you be willing to help?" And I said, "Of course." The camp was great. We had 4 coaches from Spain, 4 or even more coaches from the Netherlands, and they all did a great job. The kids worked really hard. It's not easy, when all of a sudden you have to practice 2 times a day. They only had...
It's like real pros, like?
It's like real pros with a shorter break between practices, because we went from 10 to 12 and then from 1 to 4. So for a kid, that's a long time, but they held up really well. They learned a lot. They are now having fun. They're playing some games, and I think now the camp coaches are playing against the best campers. So I think it was a really, really good camp. And then 2 days ago, I did a coaches clinic for the coaches of the region, just trying to help. And I think that was good as well.
What was the most important you tell to the coaches?
Well, I think the one thing that I told them was that, especially when they're coaching younger players, the key is not to give them too much. Because nowadays there's so much information about basketball, about tactics and strategies and drills and ball handling and this and that. But I think for coaches, the most important thing is to get their priorities straight and understand that the one thing they have to teach is teach how to play the game. Winning is not as important as developing players, and you have to make sure that the kids have fun, that they love the game of basketball, and they want to come to every practice and not miss a single practice. And then you have to teach the fundamentals of the game and not make it too complicated. The tactics and the strategies, that can come later. But the most important things are the fundamentals and how to play the game, which means it's a team game, play together, play without the ball. And I think the coaches, I think they understood that. And I think that's how they teach the game too. And then we talked about modern EuroLeague and NBA offense, which is 4 out, 1 in, or 5 out offense. And I showed them some fundamentals there and try to get them to see the big picture as well.
What do you think the kids that are here this whole week, do they love the game of basketball?
Well, I think that's really obvious, because otherwise, first of all, they wouldn't be here. But sometimes, kids get sent by their parents too. But I didn't see one kid that wasn't here because he loves playing basketball. I mean, they truly all have really enjoyed being here. They enjoyed being around each other. Like I said, the coaches did a great job of teaching the game, and I think you can hear it a little bit in the background. You hear them laughing and having a good time, and that's what it's all about, really, other than just learning and getting better.
You also have a good time here?
Oh, absolutely. I had a really good time here. Like I said, always love coming to Holland, and so yeah, I'm going to go back home tonight, but I know I'll miss Holland in a few days.
At least the partnership between Hammers and Real Betis. What do you think about that?
I think it's a huge step for Landstede basketball because the ABC is the top league in Europe. Betis has great tradition, and that can only help the basketball here in the city, in the region, but possibly also Dutch basketball in general. So I think it's a really good thing, and I had people from all over Europe contact me and say, how does Betis cooperate with Landstede? How did that come to fruition? And I think it's a great sign, and I think it's a sign of respect and appreciation for what the people here do. The program, it's a very professional program. It's a very successful program as well. And I think it's really good for Dutch basketball.
Landstede Hammers TV wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Studio.